Welcome to the February edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll see how White Bear Lake reacted to winning the Best Town in Minnesota award. We'll meet the new mayor of North St. Paul, and we'll play in a Nerf Arena in Oakdale. All that and more is straight ahead on Northeast Journal. Hello everyone and welcome to the February edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host Joe Cullen. Every month on Northeast Journal we give you an inside look at the people and places that make up the northeast section of the Twin Cities. Recently, White Bear Lake was voted as the best Minnesota town by Minnesota Monthly magazine. Producer Mary Klein shows us how the city is celebrating this achievement.
So anyway, I want you all to see this.
Cool, that's good, right?
Yeah, so this is fun.
It's about time.
It is.
We got a nice town here.
We do.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate, so I'm very thrilled that we have this.
Mayor Jo Emerson isn't shy about singing her city's praises.
Look at that.
Hey, that is great.
Isn't that wonderful? Ladies, look.
I like that.
And since White Bear Lake was voted Best Town in Minnesota by Minnesota Monthly magazine, she's been spreading the word from rooftops quite literally.
We all want to show off our community. I mean, that's why I like my job. It's the best job I've ever had, because I get to go out and tout my community, and that's fun.
Emerson says the process was a team effort.
This is an amazing award.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Well, Kara had a lot to do with it. You worked hard on it.
Beginning with about 40 applicants, they made it to the top 10 and then the top 5. The team attended the awards party in Minneapolis, apprehensive but hopeful.
And all of a sudden he started saying things, and several of us were going, that sounds like what we wrote. You know, so we're feeling at that point, this must be us.
The award was based on a number of criteria, but community engagement was a big part. And Emerson says their involvement is something quite remarkable.
Everybody picks a thing that they want to support, and they do with their time, with their money, you know, with their talent. I think it's remarkable in this city. I mean, it just is different. For some reason, it just is, and that makes it very special.
Roseville, Fergus Falls, Northfield, and Eden Prairie were the other 4 finalists, and Emerson says their mayors graciously congratulated their group. In addition to holding the title of Best Town, White Bear Lake will be provided media exposure valued at $50,000.
Look at that wonderful award.
He thinks the song they're going to use is We Are the Champions.
This is not a surprise.
This lady had a lot to do with this.
No, it was a team effort, as Bill Fassard would say.
Yes,
right?
it's team effort. He always says that.
And although the mayor is excited and grateful for the award, she always has her sights on reaching the very top.
I'm wondering if there's a national contest or international chance. Yeah. You know, we could go out there and see if there's something else. I think that'd be fun.
A new indoor Nerf Arena is now open for business in Oakdale. We took some of our staff members there to see if we could survive being attacked with dart blasters. Here's the story.
My business partner Jesse and I kind of grew up playing airsoft and paintball, and so I always kind of wanted to do something where we opened up a facility that did stuff like that. But then as we got older, We had kids, we had families, and the airsoft thing doesn't really play to kids and families. So we kind of looked around and tried to figure out something that kind of fit the middle between something not interactive like laser tag and something super interactive like airsoft or paintball, and Nerf was kind of the middle ground. Great for birthday parties. Walk-in traffic's kind of picking up just as we get the word of mouth out there and start to spread the name. So they come in, we show them kind of what's going on, we give them the price points, kind of what their kids are using for blasters and stuff like that. Then you sign a waiver, you pay your amount, and we go over to an equipment desk that's on this side, get you all geared up, get you in here, and then we have a ref that plays with you. It all depends on the game type. So if you have 10 people in here, you have 5 per side. We'll throw some Dart Escape employees in there, and some games will be elimination, some will be capture the flag, we have jailbreak, captain, it all kind of changes as you play. So we kind of cater to the people that are in here. The best part has been when adults come in, we have them play with their kids. We obviously promote that, we want them to do that. And when they do that, they come back and they have a great time. So they get done, they're like, that was a great exercise, it was way more fun than I thought it was gonna be. I think they get in here and they think it's gonna be easy. When they start to play, they realize it's not as easy as they think it's gonna be, so they start to get competitive and everybody kind of ramps up. So that's been the best part. We have enough staff at Dart Escape to have our players come in and play with you. So if you show up with 2 people and you wanna play, we'll throw in 2 people or throw in 4 people. We'll make sure you have enough, whether you wanna play against our staff, with your family, we make sure that experience is just as fun with 4 as it is with 40.
I'm not gonna let you down. Do this.
We've had an outpouring of support. I just wanted to say thank you. We really appreciate it. It's been great so far, and we couldn't have asked for anything better.
It's time for a short break. When we come back, we'll meet the new mayor of North St. Paul.
I heard the best is yet to come, or maybe it has come and gone. Let's not get carried away.
It's about putting others first. It's doing your best at whatever you do. It's all of these. It's commitment. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. Last year, North St. Paul Mayor Mike Keene decided to not run for re-election. Longtime City Council member Terry Furlong ran in the November election for the mayor and won the race. Mayor Furlong is here with us in the studio today. And I want to thank you so much, Terry, for joining me today.
Thank you, Joe, for inviting me.
Now, I know you've been involved in the City of North St. Paul city government for a long time as a member of City Council. How long were you on the City Council?
For 10 years. So I got appointed 10 years ago and then ran for election and won the election, and that was a 2-year election, and then I ran for 2 4-year terms, so total of 10 years. 10 years plus a few months.
And then what prompted you, I'm sure upon hearing that Mayor Keene wasn't going to run again, what prompted you to decide to take that next step and run for mayor?
With the mayor not running, I felt it was important to have somebody from the council run, because we have a lot of stuff going on in North St. Paul right now, a lot of new development, and I love North St. Paul, and I just thought it'd be a good opportunity to lead the city.
And even, stepping back further, 10 years ago, what first prompted you to decide to run for an elected position?
It's kind of an interesting story. I actually started with the Park and Rec with the City of North St. Paul, and my first meeting was down at Southwood Nature Preserve, and when I was at that meeting, we're on this platform that we shouldn't have been on, and I said to the group, how do we fix this? And they said, well, we don't have any money, so I'd like to try to, we should somehow figure out a way to fix these problems. And that really started getting me to think about city government and why the city wasn't getting involved with, these certain things. So through the Park Commission, I was on that for quite a few years, and just being able to work with the city council, we're able to do a lot of things within the city. And there's an opportunity after a few years on the Park and Rec that I thought, it might be a good opportunity to maybe try the other side and be able to work with the other commissions. And so I thought it would be a good idea at that time, 10 years ago, to run for the council. So I did have previous, being on the commission, previous experience, and then I ran for council thinking that I'd like to take it to the next level.
And then I know another area that you've been pretty busy in is with a lot of the things for veterans. I know one of our other shows we have on our channel, North St. Paul Notes, you've been on quite a few times with other members of the Veterans Committee. You guys did a lot of work getting that beautiful kind of memorial and park that you have there. Is that something that is still ongoing with you now too?
Oh yeah, so I, back when I started that, there was a need in the city for a veterans park or memorial or something with the veterans. And with my connections, I connected all these people together, and we're able to put this park together. But it takes time, government, it takes a lot of time. So it took about 4 years to actually get that park put together. And that's kind of the frustration on being in government, because it does take a long process to get some of these things done.
And I think for a lot of us, kind of from the outside, sometimes we don't realize that. It seems like, even in my mind, I think of that park as like, oh, it seemed like, it was an idea, and then, you don't realize that much time has gone by, and suddenly it's there, and it's beautiful, and you're having ceremonies. But obviously, years go by, a lot of work, I'm sure a lot of meetings, a lot of, trying to raise the funds for it, and a lot of work behind that, and any other project of that kind of magnitude.
Right. And I would agree with you. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to put these things together, because it's the government and you're trying to collect funds for it. We actually went down to the state and got legacy money and also bonding money. So it's a process, and once we were able to get all that done, get all the money that came in, then you're able to move ahead with the project. So it takes a lot of time.
Great. And I imagine you have kind of, some big shoes to fill. Obviously Mayor Keene was in the position for a number of years. Before him, had Mayor Bill Sandberg, who was, well-known, practically throughout the state, because at that time he was, one of the longest-serving mayors, had been in that position for many, many years. So I imagine, there's a good legacy there for you to follow.
Very good legacy, and the path is there, and I'm just continuing that path. So, with the economic development that's happening in North St. Paul right now, it's a good time for all these things to be happening. The economy is good. So we do have developers that are actually looking at us more seriously than they were a few years ago. So the Economic Development Authority I'm also on, and I served also with Mayor Keene. So when he stepped down, I was able to just kind of fill in, just keep the process going.
And I'm sure it's nice too, one thing North St. Paul is known for is, the nice downtown area you have. And I know over the years, obviously that's, been an issue to try to attract new business, but, there is kind of this charm to it and a way to bring people into town that maybe some other communities that don't have that kind of downtown area, could be even more of a challenge.
And we have the biggest car show ever. I mean, it's every Friday night during the summer, we have thousands of people down there. People don't realize it. We've had, the last few years, just people come to me going, Terry, I can't believe I come down there on Friday night, it's like the state fair, and I'm going, yeah, that's every Friday night during the summer. And this has been going on for, many years. So what we're trying to do downtown now, we do have some empty spots. We're going to try to fill them in with some sort of housing apartment. So you create a need, create the traffic for people down there, create a need, and that'll hopefully be able to open up a restaurant, coffee shop, kind of like it was back in the old days, But yeah, it's a challenge, and I think one of those things are going to be is going to be to have those apartments or some sort of housing downtown.
And it seems like one thing I've always noticed in my dealings with the city of North St. Paul is that it seems like the mayor and the council have always had a pretty good relationship with the city staff. It seems like you have a lot of people that have worked there for a long time, and new positions are created periodically too, which I would assume is a good sign that, and you have an interim city manager now in Scott Dudek, who's been with the city forever and worked a number of different roles. So I imagine that's a strength, having somebody who knows the city very well.
Right. I think having Scott now, well, first we had Craig. Craig was just before Scott here. We got Craig who out of retirement. And Craig was just wonderful. He's kind of what started all this development going on. And definitely having Scott now, Craig retired for the third or fourth time, whatever it was. Craig's a dear friend of mine. So
I should mention that's Craig Waldron you're talking
Yep,
about. He
Craig Waldron.
used to be in Oakdale for a number of years and then North St. Paul for the last few.
Dr. Craig
Yep.
Waldron. So with Scott now, like you say, with his experience, he brings a lot to the table. He may not have the education of someone coming out of Hamlin University in administration, but Scott does have a lot of the background or the history. And like you say, he's been served on every commission and, fire, school board, and he's got the connections. So it's very helpful.
Yeah, and just my experience with him, he seems like the kind of person who pretty much probably knows everybody in town just
Yep.
about. So,
and it's about
a good resource.
relationships. That's what gets things done, is to have those relationships.
Well, it seems even too, you guys, have a good relationship even with the school district. I know another one of our shows, Oakdale Update, recently had the superintendent Osorio on that show, and you could tell how excited she is about everything that's going on in the school district. That includes obviously North St. Paul along with Oakdale and Maplewood, and just seems like there's kind of good partnerships. She even spoke about the partnerships she has with the city and with your city's police department and all that stuff.
And I agree. I think relationships is what really connects the cities, the school district, the police departments, even our neighboring cities, Maplewood and Oakdale and, us. That's, I know all the administrators, I know the mayors, and it's nice to have that relationship because they can really work together. So,
I know you haven't, been in the mayor's seat here for too long after getting elected in November. What are some of your initial thoughts? Is it kind of different than you thought it'd be, or is it kind of too early to tell?
It's different when you're driving the car. My first council meeting, when I was first going to run the meeting, I thought, it'd be a piece of cake. It's no different than any other commission or whatever that. And all of a sudden you're in front of the camera and it's a little different. So a little nervous at first, but I think as time goes on, I'll get more relaxed, and I think the meetings will run good, and yeah.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that's something I've noticed even covering city council meetings in some of our communities, that it's kind of an underrated thing that the mayors are kind of driving that meeting, keeping things on task, and trying to maybe keep it under a certain time, or if there's, one of those kind of hot button issues and you have a crowd there and people are speaking, it seems like, they're, not that it's easy being a council member either, but
right,
it's kind of on you to, kind of keep everything moving.
Keep things in control.
Yeah.
It's kind of but I like it. I really enjoy it. And we have a great council. I believe we're going to get a lot of work done this year.
That's great. Yeah, and I know we've talked about, you have some council members already that have quite a bit of experience. I'm sure that helps. And, like I said, city staff that have been around a long time.
Right.
And, any other kind of goals or things that you're hoping for in this year, 2019?
Well, I think 2019 is going to be a changer for downtown because we are looking at some development that's going to hopefully be happening. The Anchor Block site, which right off of McKnight and Highway 36, another big key development area, which is also going to be happening starting this spring. So there's a lot going on within the city of North St. Paul, and it's going to be very good for the city.
Great. And I should add that you're a local businessman too, by day, I guess, right? And
Correct.
Furlong Liquor in North St. Paul?
Actually, Furlong Liquor in Oakdale.
Oakdale, okay, yeah,
Yep.
it is on that side.
Yep,
That's
I'm on
right.
the other side of the street.
Okay.
So the challenge for me is going to be family, business, and then the mayorship. You really got to balance those three, and it can be a challenge at times. Time is very precious, so it'll be good. My wife is on board, which is most of the battle. To have her on board is going to be very good.
And I'm sure to have had that experience where, it takes time, whether you're on council or even just on any commissions, even if you're a citizen member of a commission or board or anything like that. So you can at least have a taste for, even if it's maybe even a little more work with the mayor, at least, it's not totally foreign to you.
Right, exactly. I was on the Park and Rec Commission, Economic Development, very involved with the church, St. Peter's. I was a trustee over there at one point, past president of the Oakdale Business Association. So, yeah, I've been around the block.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. And I'm sure we'll be chatting with you again in the future, but I want to wish you the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it.
Thank you. It was great seeing you. And it's time for another short break. We'll be right back with more of Northeast Journal in just a minute.
Oh, what's this?
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. Create Space is a do-it-yourself art studio in White Bear Lake. For the second year in a row, Create Space partnered with police to build community involvement. Here's more from producer Mary Klein.
Hello! Never did I ever think I would be here, but then I look back and my favorite things growing up were babysitting and crafting, and I always brought crafts with when I was babysitting, and so this is just kind of an extension of that.
Born and raised in Matamita, Katie Cooley, a former elementary Spanish immersion teacher, stayed true to her roots by staying local when she and her husband started their business, Create Space.
This is our paint and stain station.
Having recently relocated just a block away from her former building, the new space on 3rd Street is bigger and better equipped to accommodate a growing clientele. Growing so quickly, they added a second store.
And we have a studio in Hudson now, so yeah.
Really expanded. Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And for the second year, Create Space has opened its studio to the White Bear Lake Police Department and community for a free do-it-yourself crafting event.
We're live. We are painting with the police.
It's a way for police and residents to connect in an interactive way.
Pull those ears up. Oh, well, that'll work too. I'll fix it. You are so strong, you ripped that guy's ears right off.
Create Space offers a variety of classes and projects, and all the materials are included, as well as hands-on instruction.
Like, you know the bend and snap? Maybe, do you?
Bend and snap, is that what you said?
Okay, so this is the press and roll.
The business also gives back to those in need, providing 4 organizations for the customer to choose from. And though many different groups with different ideas come through their doors, Cooley says there's one thing they have in common.
I think overall, my takeaways are that people just want to have fun and have a space to come together and enjoy each other while doing something fun.
We've certainly had some cold days so far this winter. If you're looking to get out of the house, though, and get moving, then head over to the Discovery Center in Oakdale for some snowshoeing. Take a look.
It's our hidden gem, 220 acres of trails, paved and grass trails. People come out and in the summer, obviously bike ride, walk the trails, run. In the winter, snowshoe, cross-country ski. Fun family activity, gets you out in the winter. Sometimes people have a hard time finding things to do and enjoy in the winter, but this is a fun activity where we get people out and discover the Oakdale Nature Preserve. Stop by the Discovery Center. We have a display room that's open business hours 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, also on the weekend hours. And kids can come in and we have plaster pods, different activities, touch tables, puzzles, lots of different fun things that'll keep them busy in the winter months. We've got trail maps as well that you can look at and they'll kind of help you navigate the park as well. Lots of wildlife, lots of deer and lots of birds. Check it out, give us a call, stop in. Only $5 to rent the skis. We've got sizes for adults and kids. So it'd be a great opportunity to come out and get outside.
That's all we have time for on this month's show. Thanks for tuning in and join us again next month for another edition of Northeast Journal.